Good morning, friends. Welcome back. So yesterday we have discussed the operating system here, and we have seen the different types of operating systems, different versions, and different features of them. Okay, and then we have discussed a very important part of that session, that is your operating system license. That we have to purchase the license so that we'll get more advantages if you have the license. And if there is no license, there are some disadvantages, like there is no security, there is no update, there are no there is no support and all those things, right? So it should be a genuine operating system for sure, whether it is client OS or a server OS, whatever. Then we discuss a very, very important part, that is the booting part. What we said, hard disk is there and RAM is there. Hard disk is a temporary storage. Sorry, hard disk is a permanent storage. Come again. Hard disk is a permanent storage device and RAM is a temporary storage device. Okay. Hard disk is permanent and RAM is temporary storage. So the operating system will be there in the hard disk, whether it is computer, laptop, server, or any other machine. The operating system will be there in the hard disk. So once you switch on the computer, the operating system from hard disk, it will load into your RAM. So this process is called booting process. Okay. So right now the operating system is running in my RAM. Now, from where the operating system will come in hard disk? The operating system in hard disk will come from the installation. We have to take the DVD or we have to take the ISO image of that particular operating system, and we have to do the installation in our hard disk. So yesterday I showed you how to download your Windows Server. So just go to Google and say Windows Server 2016 ISO image, or 2019 also you can download. And if you want to go with like 2012, in case if there is a requirement for you, you can go with 2012 also. See, it is also available here. But before 2012, there was 2008, which is not visible here. That means it is outdated. Microsoft is no more providing that Windows Server 2008. So just go with 2016 here and select the ISO image and continue, enter all the details and click on download. So OS image will be downloaded. ISO means it is an image file. This image file you can copy in your pen drive, and by using that pen drive, you can do the installation in your server if it is a physical server. Okay. So take the OS DVD or the image and do the installation. So this is what we will understand today, how to install operating system. So download ISO image, install ISO image in computer hard disk. Now boot the computer. So OS will be loaded from hard disk to RAM. That is what we have said, okay, in our yesterday's class, and we have said the same thing today also, right? So download, install, and boot. This is the process. Now, one of the main interview questions you will get here is how to install Windows operating system, or how to install operating system in general. This is one of the very common work we do in our real scenario, in our real setups. Okay, there are some hundreds and thousands of computers. There are many servers available. Okay, some may say like, okay, there is a cloud computing technology there. There is cloud computing. So there is no need to install operating system in server. Of course, if you're using cloud computing, there is no need to install operating system in server. But see, how to connect to the server? You connect to the server by using a computer or a laptop. So that again is a physical machine, right? So cloud computing does not mean like the complete computer network is available over the cloud. No, cloud computing, we are hosting some servers only. But the users who are working in that company, like accounts people, finance people, programmers, multimedia people, they connect to the cloud servers by using their computers and laptop, desktops and laptops. So it is again a physical machine. So you will be connected to the cloud server by using a physical machine. Your company setup will be like this. You can see here, all these people are working on their machines, right? Maybe she is a programmer here, maybe she is an accounts person, maybe he is a multimedia person. So they will go with their physical machine. So you should know how to install operating system in this physical machine also. Okay, so installation of Windows Server operating system or installation of client operating system is exactly same. If you know any one installation, you can do all the other installations. Fine. So in any way, we have to see we have to learn how to do the installation. So before we do the installation or before we start the installation process, we have to do certain things here. One is, first of all, we have to download the ISO image or take the DVD. Okay, so that is ready. Your ISO image is ready in a bootable pen drive, or your DVD is also ready there. Okay, so that is done. Now go to that computer or a server, wherever you are installing the operating system, go to that machine and switch on that machine and enter into BIOS, basic input output system. BIOS is a preloaded software or preloaded program available in every machine. Okay, whether a server or a computer, there is a preloaded software available in your ROM chip. Every motherboard has a ROM chip, right? So in their ROM chip, this BIOS program will be loaded, basic input output system. So why we need to go there in BIOS? First of all, BIOS will look like this. I'm not sure how many people have entered inside this BIOS. So this will be like this. And most of the computers, this is your BIOS chip, and this BIOS chip has a software like this. Okay, so first go to the computer by taking your DVD or the ISO image, go to that machine and connect that machine, connect the ISO image or the DVD to that particular machine, and then enter in this BIOS. Now, once you enter in this BIOS, we can see many options there. One of the options that we have in BIOS is boot option. Now, these are the boot options available in BIOS. Yeah, it's clear, right? So there are 4 boot options. One is CD DVD, one is removable device, that is pen drive. Another one is hard drive, that is a hard drive that is connected to the machine. And there is one more option that is called network boot. So we can install operating system in this computer by using CD DVD. So if you're installing operating system in this computer by using CD DVD, you should just go to that machine. You should just go to that physical machine, enter in BIOS and select the option of CD or DVD, because we are installing the operating system from CD DVD, right? So select CD or DVD. Done. Okay. The second thing is, suppose you are installing operating system from pen drive. That is by using the ISO image, you are installing from a removable device, that is a pen drive. So then we have to go to that computer and select the option removable device. If you are installing the operating system from a server, you know, if there are like 1,000 computers in a company, and if you are installing operating system in 1,000 computers, so it will take around 20 minutes on average to install the operating system in a machine. So can you go to 1,000 machines and can you do the installation? It will take more time, right? It may take some days or maybe like a couple of weeks. So there is one more way of installing operating system, and that is from server. You can just use a server and you can do the installation in all the computers from server. So then we have to select the last option, network boot. So this is what we have to do in BIOS. In BIOS, we need to tell the computer like it should take operating system from either DVD or either removable device or either from the server or from the local hard disk. Okay, so this is what we need to do in BIOS. So what I said here, see, we select the boot process in BIOS. So switch on the computer. Once you switch on the computer, we need to enter in BIOS. So how to enter in BIOS? Once you switch on the computer, within 2-3 seconds or maximum 5 seconds, within 2 to 3 seconds or 5 seconds, press these keys on your keyboard. In some motherboard, it will be delete button. In some motherboard, F2 or F10 or even F12 is also available in some motherboards. So once you switch on a machine, within like 2-3 seconds, press any of this key. It depends on your company actually. Like, you know, most of the Dell computers, they will support F2. Most of the Lenovo computers and laptops, they also support F2. I have seen some IBM computers which supports F10. There are certain computers which supports the Dell key. So these are the different keys we have. So just try to see which key you have, which key you need to press to enter into. BIOS. If it is F2, and suppose if you're pressing delete or F10, you will never enter into BIOS. So we need to press the key that is supported on that particular device. And how to know which key is supported on the device? If you are confused, just go to Google and search how to enter in this particular, mention the name of the machine and the model and everything, and then say like how to enter into this machine BIOS. So once you enter that, the Google will help you and it will say like press F2 or F10 or whatever. So then you can use it. Okay. So press any of this key, enter in BIOS. Again, why we are entering in BIOS? We are entering in BIOS so that we can select the boot option in BIOS. There are many things in BIOS here, friends. We can enable and disable some options. There are many things we can do in BIOS, but one of the major things that we do in BIOS is we select our boot option. Okay. So just select your boot option. Now save the settings and exit. So once you save the settings and exit, the installation process will begin. Now from here, it is not difficult. It is only like basic English will be written there and basic steps will be written. So it will be very easy for you to configure all the things in BIOS now. It will be easy for you to configure all the things in the operating system. I repeat again, enter in BIOS, select the boot option and save and exit. So once you save and exit, the installation process will begin. So in installation process, all the easy steps will be written. You can do each and every step easily. We will see all the steps, but still, you know, if you do some installation for the first time, still it will be easy for you to install any operating system. The starting 2-3 things we need to understand carefully. Like, you know, from where we need to take operating system. Okay, we need to download the OS as an ISO image. Then this ISO image should be copied in a pen drive, or we can take the DVD. The DVD should be connected to the server. See, nowadays, majority of cases, we are not seeing DVDs. I'm not sure when was the last time you were using a DVD. Maybe you use a DVD for like movie, maybe, right? But not for any software. I remember like 7-8 years before, 10 years before, I used to have some, you know, hundreds of CDs and DVDs, which contains different softwares and different applications and all those things. But right now, everything is available on internet easily and everything will come in a ISO file. So within some minutes, we can download. No, not an issue, right? So the first thing is you should know how to download the operating system ISO image. That is first thing. Second thing is you should know how to enter into BIOS and how to select the boot option. Entering in a BIOS is actually the main thing. How to select the boot option? The options are already available there. Okay, the options will be already available there. It will be easy for you to select the option. So now enter in BIOS and select the boot option and save the options. So once you save the option, what it says here, see, save and exit. So once you save and exit, your machine will reboot. So once the machine reboots, the installation process will begin. That's it. This is what we need to answer when they ask you the question like, do you know how to install the operating system? We say yes. So when you say yes, they will ask, if they ask you like, tell us how to install the operating system, just try to follow these 4-5 steps. Just try to say these 4-5 steps. That will be more than enough for that person to understand, like, you know, the installation. Okay. Now, there is a question here, like, can image use in company? Can it use as a server with all functions? Image means image that we have downloaded here, the ISO image. Of course, that is a real image. We are downloading this image from Microsoft website only, right? So we can use this image in our company. We can use this image for like 180 days for free. It will have all the functions. After 180 days, it will ask you to pay money. And suppose if you're not paying money after 180 days, then what happens? If you're not paying money after 180 days, you know, when the server is running, suddenly it will go down. Suddenly it will be shut down. You cannot imagine a company server going down, right? Server means everyone is connected to server. They are accessing their data. They are accessing files, folders, emails, applications. They are accessing everything from server. If it is down, then there is a disconnection there. Okay. So for 180 days, you can use it. But after 180 days, we have to pay and we have to use. Got it? In companies, they will simply download and they will test first. Like suppose, for example, in a company, there is Windows Server 2016. And suppose if you are going with Windows Server 2019, companies upgrading to Windows Server 2019. So when they are upgrading to Windows Server 2019, first they will download the software They will do testing. So within a day, we cannot upgrade from 16 to 19. It is a very big process. Change is always a big process. For example, if you're moving from Delhi to Bombay, it's a very big process, right? Suddenly you cannot take a bag and you cannot move to Bombay. That's not possible. There are many things we need to consider just to move from one location to another location. Here also same. When a company is moving from an older version to a newer version, there are many things they need to consider, like they need to consider the applications. The application that are running on Windows Server 2016, will it work perfectly on Windows Server 2019 or not? If the application is not working on 2019, then they need to upgrade application also. So they need to upgrade each and everything. Maybe they need to upgrade the hardware also. So upgrade is a very, 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 big process. If you go and take example of your home, there is a refrigerator. I'm using a new refrigerator for last 2 years. But before this refrigerator, there was a refrigerator I was using for like 12, 13 years. So it took me 12, 13, 14 years to change my refrigerator. So see, it is a different process. It will take time. But yes, we can use this in companies. So first companies will do testing by downloading the softwares, and if everything is working fine, then they will upgrade officially. Okay. Suraj, there is a question here from Suraj. Will you provide recordings? Of course, we'll provide recordings. All the recordings are available on YouTube. Today is the last recording updated on YouTube, actually uploaded on YouTube. From tomorrow, hopefully the recordings will be forwarded to you directly to your mail ID. Whatever mail ID you are providing, to that mail ID, recordings will be uploaded. See, this is Durgasoft. And if you go to this videos, this is a yesterday class. Can you see MCSC demo? This is yesterday's class. So today class is also updated here, or uploaded here, sorry. But after tomorrow, it will be forwarded directly to you. So each and every class is recorded. Like I said, you class number 1 to the last class, every class is recorded, and all the recordings will be shared with you without charging extra money. Whatever fees you are paying for this course, everything comes under this fees only. Okay, fine. So I hope everything is clear now, installation process and all those things. Now let us go and see how to do installation practically. Now, to do MCSE practicals, we need minimum 2 machines. One machine is your server machine, another machine is your client machine. I repeat here, friends, we need minimum 2 machines to do all the MCSE practicals. In some cases, you may need 3 machines also. At least 2 machines are needed to do all practicals. Okay, so from where we can get 2 machines or 3 machines, 2, 3 physical machines? No one is using 2, 3 physical machines for their personal use, right? Maybe in your home, you have your own laptop, or your brother or sister has some other laptop, that is okay, but they will not share that laptop because, when you do practicals, you are making a lot of changes in that machine. So from where you will get these machines, from where you can bring minimum 2 machines to do all practicals. Now see, no need to bring these 2 machines. No need to bring a server machine separately, and no need to bring a client machine separately. We can use one physical machine and we can do all the practicals in that one physical machine. So that is what we need to understand first, how to take one single physical machine and how to install and how to practice our MCSE concepts in one single physical machine. So I'm assuming like you have a computer or a laptop with you back home, or maybe in office, or you can use your friend's machine, laptop or computer, desktop, whatever. You just need one machine. In that one machine, we can do all practicals. Yesterday, I have already shared a software with you, right? So let us see how that particular software is working. So this machine is the machine that you have in your home, or maybe at your workplace, or whatever. So what is the first layer in this machine? As usual, we know the first layer will be the hardware layer, right? Every machine has a hardware layer. Every machine has a hardware layer. So what we have in this hardware? In this hardware, we have different components, but the most important components that we need to discuss here is RAM, hard disk, CPU, NIC card. NIC card means network card. Okay, NIC card also I can remove here, no issues, but these are the three things. Now coming to RAM. How much GB RAM you should have in your machine? The minimum requirement here is 8 GB. How much hard disk you should have? Minimum 100 GB free. Minimum 100 GB should be free. And CPU i3 or above. i3 or above means i5, i7 and all those things. So this is the minimum hardware requirement you should have in your machine. If this hardware is matching with your hardware, if this requirement is matching with your hardware, then you know, by using one single machine, we can do all practicals. What is the requirement? What are the things we need here, friends? RAM should be minimum 8 GB, hard disk should be minimum 100 GB free, and CPU should be i3 or above. I'm just hoping and I'm just expecting here, like every person has this much hardware available. If there is 4 GB in your machine, I'm very sorry to say, 4 GB is not sufficient for you to do MCSE practicals. Actually, 4 GB is not sufficient to do even Linux practicals or many other things actually. 4 GB is outdated like way back. For last, if you have a machine which you have purchased in last 5 years or 4 years or maybe like 6 years also, that machine should have at least 8 GB RAM. And from today, if you are purchasing a new machine for yourself or if your friends or someone, then just try to take a machine with at least 16 GB RAM, because you know the operating system is changing, the applications are changing. So whenever a new version is coming, the new version will use more space. New version will come with more features. More features means more files will be added, more folders will be added, so more size it will consume, more memory it will consume, so it will be like more. I remember when I started using the computers way back in 2005, in my computer it was 128 MB RAM. 128 MB was good, but you know what I have done? I have taken the RAM with like 256 MB. Then it was considered as more RAM. Okay, then I upgraded to 512 MB RAM. Till 2005, 2006, I was using Windows XP only then actually till 2005. So it was like 512 MB RAM. 512 MB RAM for Windows XP was huge. Then when I started using Windows Server, Windows 7, I brought a new machine, then the other machine, then I've brought 2 GB RAM in that machine. 2 GB RAM was considered as a huge memory there. But you know, right now, how much RAM I have in my computer? If I go to this PC, to know how much RAM you have in your computer, right click on this PC, go to properties. Can you see how much is here now? Right now I'm using 16 GB RAM. I have one more machine. In that machine, I have totally 32 GB RAM. So I have two machines which I'm using for different classes. One is having like 16 GB. Another one is having 32 GB. So from like 128 MB, I went up to like 2. I went up to like 32. 128 MB is how much? You know how much MB is 1 GB? I hope you know that. 1024 MB is 1 GB. So I started using computers in my home actually. In my home, I started using computers from 128 MB RAM. 128 MB. Okay. So now I'm using a machine with 1024 multiplied by 32. 32,768 MB. Wow, that is some change, right? 128 was okay then, but now 32,000 MB is what I'm using in a machine. So anyhow, I'm expecting that you're using at least 8 GB RAM. So if you're using 8 GB RAM, then this scenario will suit you the best way possible. If there is like 12 GB or 16 GB RAM, then it is great. But at least I said minimum 8 GB, right? Okay, fine. So this is your hardware. I'm just assuming this is a hardware. So on top of this hardware, what we have to do? That is what we said in last 2 days. We have to install our operating system. And most of the people, they go with like Windows 8 or maybe like Windows 10 or maybe like the new version Windows 11. That is also possible. So there is a operating system available there. Fine. So I have a computer, or imagine we have a computer with 8 GB RAM and we have one operating system running in that machine. And suppose imagine this operating system is, let us say, Windows 10. That is more common, right? So Windows 10. You know what happens now? Windows 10 will use totally 2 GB RAM. Out of 8 GB RAM, Windows 10 will use totally 2 GB RAM. So the remaining RAM available in my computer is 6 GB. Now, how to know how much RAM is in use and how much RAM is still available for free and all those things? I hope you know this. If not, let me just show you once. See, if you go to this taskbar, you know, the bottom one is called taskbar, right? So just right click on taskbar and go to task manager, or you can simply go to start and say task manager here also. Just go to start and say task manager. So when you go to task manager, there is an option here called performance. In performance, it will show you like how much memory is already in use. See, I have totally 16 GB, 15.9 GB means 16 GB. Out of 16 GB, how much is already in use? 4.5 GB RAM is already in use. 4.5 GB RAM is already in use. 28% is already in use, but still I have like more than 70%, right? So no issues. How much I have totally 6 plus 6? I have like more than 12 GB RAM available. So I have like sufficient RAM, no issues. Okay. Now I'll show you one more thing here. Let us see how the machines will consume our memory. So right now, how much it is using here? It is using 4.5 GB. Okay. Let me just write here. My machine is using 4.5 GB of RAM. Fine. I'll go to browser. I'll just try to like open some websites here, or these videos actually. Azure, Python, Code, Java, Hadoop. All these things I'm opening here, C language and all those things. So see how many videos, how many sites I open around 8 to 10 here, right? Now see, let us go and see how much it is using now here, friends. Can you say it is using 5.3, 5.4? So from 4.5, it is now using nearly 5.5. That is, it has increased totally 1 GB of resources. It has increased totally 1 GB of RAM there. It is consuming more RAM, right? So whenever you use say Google Chrome is a application, browser is an application, right? So whenever you use any application or any file or anything, the RAM usage will go up, as well as CPU usage will go up, everything will go up. So see, now it is showing 35%. So before it was showing 28%, now it is using 35%. So nearly 7% has increased. Now see, I'll close everything at the same time. See, done. Now it went back again to 4.6, 4.5 now. Got it? So this is the way it will consume your memory from your machine. Okay. So coming back to our scenario here, friends. We have installed operating system. So operating system will use like 2 GB RAM. But on top of operating system, if you start using some applications like MS Office or antivirus or Google Chrome or media player or any other software or any other game, or if you even open a document also will consume some memory. It will consume very less memory, but still it will consume memory. Okay, if you open any photo still, it will consume a memory. Okay, fine. So I hope it is clear now. Now, this is a very normal machine, hardware and operating system. But again, how to do practicals here? To do practicals, we need to have two machines, right? So now, on top of this operating system, please listen carefully, friends. On top of this operating systems, we need to install a application, and that application is called VMware Workstation. Technically, it is called hypervisor. So I'm not going into all these technicalities in this session. That we will see once we go to the hopefully the cloud computing session and all those things. But see, this is your, just a second, friends. Hold on, please. Yeah, very sorry, friends. Some emergency was there. Okay, fine. So see here. So what we have to do now, on top of the operating system, we need to install a application. Technical name of that application is called hypervisor. Hypervisor. Okay. And there are different types of hypervisors available. One is called Hyper-V. Another one is called Oracle VirtualBox. And another one is VMware Workstation. Again, there is type 1, type 2 hypervisor. So it's a virtualization technology. We are not learning virtualization technology here, right? So I'll just go with a very simple thing here. We have to install any one of these software in our machine. This is called hypervisor. It can be Hyper-V or Oracle VirtualBox, or it can be VMware Workstation. So what I have done, I have installed VMware Workstation in my computer, and I have shared the same software with you so that you can do this installation. After installing this operating system in your machine, I repeat, after installing this application, that is a hypervisor application in your machine, you can create multiple virtual machines. There are some terminologies again we need to understand carefully. One is your physical machine. Physical machine means that we use now, that we can see, we can touch. That's physical, right? Virtual machine means virtual machine is part of your physical machine. Virtual machine is a collection of files and folders actually. Physical machine is motherboard, processor, hard disk, RAM, that we can see, we can use, we can touch, we can carry. But virtual machine also has a RAM, a hard disk, a motherboard, a processor, a NIC card, a operating system, everything is there. But everything is there in a virtual environment. It's not physical. It is there something like a file and a folder. Okay, so by installing this VMware Workstation, we can create multiple virtual machines in one physical machine. I repeat again, by using this VMware workstation, we can create multiple virtual machines in one physical machine. So how many virtual machines I can create in this one physical machine? How much GB RAM is available here, friends? Total GB RAM is 8 GB, right? Out of 8 GB, 2 GB is already used by your physical machine. So how much is available for free? How much is available here as free? Totally 6 GB, right? So in this 6 GB RAM, technically speaking, I can create 6 virtual machines. In this one physical machine, if 6 GB RAM is available, I can go with like totally 6 virtual machines. That means for each virtual machine, I will be assigning 1 GB RAM. But suppose for some virtual machine, you are saying like 2 GB RAM. Then we can create like 5 machines, or maybe like 4 machines, or maybe like 3 machines. It depends on your RAM. How much RAM you're assigning on that scenario, or on that basis, you can say like, okay, this much we can create. Okay, so we have totally 6 GB RAM available. So in this 6 GB RAM, you need minimum 2 or like 3 machines, right? So you can easily create 2 or 3 machines there. 2 or 3 which machines? 2 or 3 virtual machines. I repeat, physical machine is the machine that you're using right now. Virtual machine is part of your physical machine. So now we need to create virtual machines. And to create virtual machines, what we need to install there? We need to install VMware Workstation software. Done. So now let us create 2 machines here. This machine I'll create for server, and one more machine I'll create for your client. I'm just using the symbols for your machines. So this is your server and this is your client. So server machine, let me just give one color as say okay. Red color. And the client machine, let me give the color as the blue color. Okay, there is a question here like active 6 at a time. If you switch off them, can okay. Actually, you can create 20 machines also. You can create 20 virtual machines also, but can we use 20 machines at the same time? No. So if you are installing 6, you can use all 6 at the same time, but the condition is every machine should get only 1 GB RAM. Then we can use. But suppose you install 10 machines, like, multiple people are using same machine. Some people are learning Windows administration, some are learning Linux administration. Everyone is creating their own machine there. For example, you are staying with your friends or brother or family, whatever. So you can create many machines there. So when you use the machine, then only the hardware will be utilized. Then only the hardware will be used. If you're not using the machine, then hardware will not be used. That's it. So if you are creating 6 machines or 10 machines or 20 machines, it doesn't matter. 6 GB RAM means we can use only the machines that can support or that have like totally 6 GB RAM allocated to them. So if there is 6 GB RAM, we cannot switch on 4 machines with like 2 GB RAM. So totally they need 8 GB RAM, right? So now we have only 6 GB RAM available. But 2 GB RAM, we can switch on 2 machines or like 3 machines. So that is the way it works. Okay. I hope the concept is clear. I'll just take a break for like 30 seconds. If you have any doubt here in this concept, hopefully we can clear everything. Then we can see how to create the virtual machines there. Virtual machine is part of your physical machine. Virtual machine will use all the resources like motherboard, processor, RAM, hard disk, and everything. It will use all the resources, and it will use resources from your physical machine only. So if resources are available in the physical machine, then only virtual machine will run perfectly. If resources are not available in the physical machine, then virtual machine will not run. Then virtual machine will not run. And till the time you're using the virtual machine, it will use the resources. Till the time you're using the virtual machine, it will use the resources. Once you stop using the virtual machine, it will send all the resources back to your physical machine. I hope it is clear. So I'll still wait here for like 30 seconds. Just try to revise this scenario. Just try to revise the concept here. Then we will see how to create a virtual machine. Okay, so one more question is there, like for 6 virtual machine, how much hard disk space we need? See, every virtual machine will use approximately 20-25 GB of hard disk. If you start using, initially it will use 10 GB or 12 GB, but after you configure something, after you make some changes in the virtual machine, you install something, configure something, then it will use up to like 20 GB of RAM, 18-20 GB of hard disk from your machine. So if it is around 150 GB or 200 GB free hard disk, then it is much better. But for like 2-3 machines, 100 GB or less than 100 GB is more than manageable. But if you want to go with like 6 machines or more than 6 machines, you can just, there was a time when I was using around 25 to 30 machines in one machine, one physical machine. Like I said, I have another machine, 32 GB RAM, where I take VMware and some other sessions there. So there at a time, 25 to 30 machines will be available every time. But I'm not using all 25-30 machines at the same time, right? In every class, I need to switch on like 2 machines, 3 machines, or even like 4 machines, or maximum 5 machines in any session. So then I'm using only 5 machines. So my RAM consumption will be like around 15 GB, 18 GB. When I go with the VMware, the virtualization courses, my memory consumption will be around 23-24 GB. Up to like 25 GB also I have used in the other machine. Out of 32 GB up to like 25 GB. Because I was using 5 physical machines there, or 5 virtual machines there. Okay. So when you use, it will consume. When you shut down, it will release. Okay, fine. So let us see like how much configuration we have to do here. But before I go to these machines, let us say red machine is a server machine, blue machine is a client machine. I just want to add one more thing here. So this is your physical machine and this is the virtual machine. But there is one more machine we have. Like, cloud computing is a very, 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 famous or much in demand technology nowadays. So there we called as EC2. Like if you go with like Amazon services, Amazon Web Services, then it is called EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So this is also a virtual machine, but the difference here is the virtual machine that we are creating now, the red and the blue, the virtual machines we are creating in our physical machine, right? The laptop or a desktop. But this EC2 machine, we will not create in our physical machine. This EC2 machine we will create in Amazon data center. These machines we will create somewhere here. These are your real servers. These are your real data center. From outside, it will be like this. And by the way, each box is like something like your football ground. This is like huge. This is huge data center somewhere. As you know, there is a center coming in Hyderabad also. Very soon it will be up for use, but these are the data centers. So this is a third way in which we can use a machine, in which we can use a server. That is your cloud machine. Fine. That is not the topic for us to discuss for today, but just for knowledge purpose, I have just added this here. Okay, fine. So let us go to this machine and let us make this machine as a server machine. Now for server machine, RAM minimum you should take like 2 GB. How much GB? Minimum 2 GB RAM. If you have like more than 6 GB, more than 8 GB available, then better go with 3 GB. Like, how much GB is available now for free? Totally 6 GB is available, right? So for better performance, you can go with like 3 GB also. So I have like totally 16 GB in my machine. So I can even go with like 4 GB or 6 GB for server machine. But minimum you should go with like how much GB RAM? 2 GB RAM. Hard disk, you should go with minimum like 60 GB is more than enough. I'll take more hard disk for our classroom session. I'll go with like 100 GB. But if it is like 60 GB, that is also enough. CPU, like 2 cores. How to take these 2 cores, CPU and all those things, I'll show you. How to select 2 GB RAM, hard disk, everything I'll show you. Then we need to take NIC card. One NIC card is more than enough for us. So these are the things we have to take. In server, this much should be there. This is minimum configuration, friends. Okay. And we have like one more machine, that is your client machine. So in client machine, we'll be using Windows 7 because it will take very less RAM. Yesterday, I shared Windows 7 also with you. I got only 3 messages, actually 4 emails actually. So I have like some more people here. And if you want to use VMware Workstation, please send me the mail. Please send me a test mail so that I can just add you in that uh, Google Drive, and you can access the VMware Workstation as well as Windows 7 ISO image. Okay. So for Windows 7, we need minimum RAM as 1 GB. Hard disk like 40 GB is more than enough. CPU like 1 core is more than enough. And NIC is obviously only one, right? So we cannot take half NIC in any way. So this much configuration is enough in your client machine. So server we are using 2 GB, client we are using 1 GB. So totally 3 GB RAM will be utilized. Totally 3 GB RAM will be utilized here, and this 3 GB RAM it will consume from your physical hardware when the machine is running. I repeat, when the machine is running, then it will consume your resources. If the machines are not running, it will not consume anything. So with this configuration, we will create 2 virtual machines and we will install operating system in these 2 virtual machines. It will take totally 1 session for us to see how to create virtual machines, how to install operating system, and we will see server installation, only server installation. And if you know how to install server OS, then it will be very easy for you to install client operating system. So tomorrow I will show you how to create a virtual machine, how to install the operating system in the virtual machine, and tomorrow we will see how to use this server operating system. Let us see how it looks and then what options we have and all those things. So tomorrow is a session where we will see Windows Server 2016 installation. Okay, and coming to this recorded classes, friends, the recorded classes, this class is also uploaded on YouTube. Within like 2 hours it will be uploaded on YouTube. But from after tomorrow, whatever classes we start, we will enter into the administration. So from after tomorrow, the classes will be shared directly with you to your mail ID. So whatever mail ID you have provided, better provide a Gmail ID. It will be easy for them to share the Google Drive. So just provide the mail ID to the management. They will share all the details and all the videos with you. And in coming classes, I have to share many more things with you, many more documents and interview questions and some lab books and some projects and all those things I'll share. So each and everything is connected to our Google Drive only. So every time we'll go to Google Drive and we will access our I'll share all the details there. So see, this is a Google Drive that I have shared with you yesterday. Yeah, I've already uploaded these 2 things, right? This is the VMware Workstation software. And this is the Windows 7. Done. Okay, friends. So this was the class for today. And if there is anything else to discuss, any doubts, any questions from today's class or whatever, we still have some time here, around 5 minutes or so. So I'm available here. So if you have anything else to discuss, we'll see. And please keep the chat box always busy. Your questions will make the chat box busy and questions will help everyone actually. Okay, your questions from the particular topic will help each and everyone. So no need to wait till the end of the session to ask a question. You're not disturbing in a way, like you're not talking here, right? You're just, sending a message in the chat box. It will not disturb anywhere. So whenever I need to come to that question, I'll come to that question. Okay, friends. So I guess, yeah, thanks, Ranjit. Thanks a lot. So I guess there are no questions. So that's the session for today. So hopefully tomorrow, like I said, we have the installation session. I'll show you how to create a virtual machine, and I'll show you how to install the operating system, and that is Windows Server 2016 operating system. So it will take around 20 minutes. And in the 20 minutes, we can discuss some other things. So hopefully, again, a very, very important class is coming up tomorrow. So that's it, friends. That's it for today. See you tomorrow at same time, 11:30 a.m. So every day class will be there at 11:30 a.m. So we're not changing the schedule, and we will not change the schedule. That is the schedule we have started. So it will be there at the same time. Okay. Okay, so finally there is a question here. Is client operating system version better for installing HyperOS? Of course, see, in computers and laptops, we use client operating system only, right? Anyone using server operating system in a client machine, or anyone using server operating system in laptop or a desktop? No, 99% cases, no. We just use our Windows 7, 8, 10, or maybe 11. So to install the see, there are two types of hypervisors. One is called type 1 and type 2. What we are using is a normal type 2 hypervisor. It's not the real hypervisor. It is only for practical purpose. See, if you can go with like Windows 8 or Windows 10, whichever OS you want to go, you can go with that OS. Whatever OS is already there in your machine, better take that OS or keep that OS. And on top of that OS, install this hypervisor, VMware Workstation Hypervisor. If you go with Windows 7, the only advantage in Windows 7 is Windows 7 will not consume 2 GB RAM. Windows 7 will consume only 1 GB RAM. So that is the only advantage we have in Windows 7. But Windows 7 is outdated now. We are not getting better features and better options or updates. But still, for practical purpose, if you want to go for Windows 7, you can go with it. But if the OS is already there, it will be there for sure. So whichever OS you have in your machine, you can simply use that OS and you can run this workstation. The only condition here, friends, is the hardware. And in hardware, most of the cases, CPU will be more than sufficient, hard disk will be more than sufficient. The problem will come only with RAM, because whenever you take a machine, normally you take less RAM. People who are not having the technical background, they consider taking more hard disk is better. 90% cases, or more than 90% cases, they try to go with more hard disk. Okay, hard disk also has a speed. It will also affect your machine performance. But hard disk is majorly storage, right? We save data and all those things. Your machine performance is based on RAM and CPU. Better the RAM and CPU, better the machine performance. So just try to take more RAM. So if it is 4 GB RAM in your machine, then don't try to go and install VMware hypervisor there. Installation you can do, you can install one machine there, but you need two machines for practical. So that is not possible. Okay. Okay, fine. So I guess we have done with this session, friends. So hope to see you again tomorrow at same time, 11:30 a.m. Fine. And lastly, again, some people have asked about the videos. So this video is also, or this video will be uploaded on your Durgasoft YouTube channel. So within like 2 hours, you can access this video, and whatever classes I have taken before, starting 2 classes, like very, very simple and very, very basic class. Actually, the main session started from yesterday and before yesterday. Okay, so just try to revise these classes, and hopefully you'll be more than ready to start the administration after tomorrow. Done. That's it, friends. See you tomorrow at same time. Bye. Take care.